Okay, hello everyone. While people are still coming in, I just have a couple announcements before we get started. So, if you're here as an AMA member, we will not be having an AMA general meeting next week, Wednesday. But we still do have our divisional meetings. So, if you go to those or are planning on attending on Monday, please do so because those meetings are still on, just no meeting on Wednesday. And then after this little break, we will be having a diversity certificate on April 17th. So we would love to see you guys all there, kind of the same format as what we do here, but it's just going to be centered more towards diversity, inclusion, belonging. And I'll kick us off in a couple minutes as people are sitting down. All right. So, welcome to our digital certificate today. It's one of our last certificate events, so thank you so much for being here. Today's certificate is going to be moderated by one of our AMA advisors, Andy Dahl. Round of applause for Andy, please. And then we do have some awesome companies. We have Colony Brands, Primax, and Accurate here today. So at the end of the meeting, if you guys would like to talk to the partners, please come up here. They are looking to hire you guys for jobs and internships. We've heard this all before. So don't be afraid to come up here and talk to them. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Andy to start off this event.
Great, thank you. And thank you for joining us this afternoon for the Digital Marketing Certificate. So this is our last partner event for the semester. But again, starting on April 17th, we will have that Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Certificate as well. So for today's certificate program, we have the Primex family of companies, and one of their major brands is Accurate. So we have two individuals that are here in person, and then we also have from Colony Brands and Affiliates, which they have a variety of catalog and e-commerce brands. We have an individual that's joining us online. And so we'll introduce Kevin in a little bit, but I'm going to get started by introducing Bill and Ben. I'm going to invite them to come up here. They're going to talk to you a little bit in terms of what they're doing from an e-commerce perspective at Primex and the Primex family of companies, and specifically talking a little bit about affiliate marketing. I thought I saw some stuff about reviews on there and some other, I think, industry trends or best practices. So let's give a warm welcome to Bill Boss and Ben Land. You can see their titles there. So, they're going to share their insights on e-commerce and what's going on from their perspective in the industry.
Thank you, Andy. Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you all. And you know who we are already, so we don't have to really introduce other than I'm Bill and he's Ben, because you probably didn't know that part of it. But do you have the clicker? Great. I can click. That's way too much control to give me in an afternoon, but all right. So Andy said we're going to hit on a few things this afternoon, some things that we've been working on that we thought might be interesting to you, and some of the things that we're doing to grow our business on Accurate.com for our D2C channel that we have. We do sell a lot also on Amazon. The affiliate marketing, product review stuff is really all about our Accurate.com, and then you also see with some of our retailer e-com sites as well. And then Ben's also going to talk about some things that we're seeing with Amazon and all the other players from a competitive standpoint and what's happening there. So some kind of a little potpourri, I guess, for things we're going to talk about, but hopefully interesting for you. So so let's go ahead and hit on affiliate marketing. And I don't know how familiar you guys are with affiliate marketing and what it is. And I thought it might be good just to do a quick little overview as far as like how affiliate programs work. You might probably already be familiar with it and have used it before. If you ever Googled a coupon to go find something to get a discount on something you wanted to buy online, more than likely you were using an affiliate program to do that. So that's one of the ways that affiliate programs can work, where an affiliate will share a link to and a code, and then you link off from their site over to wherever you want to purchase it. On our side would be Accurite.com, and then they basically get once they convert, they get a percentage of that sale. Right, is how that works. So that's one of the ways, kind of the most simple way that affiliate marketing and affiliate marketing programs work. And so there's a little example there from the coupon.co that we work with as one of our affiliates. We probably have right now about 70 different affiliates in different ways, but they're all not just coupon sites. Some of them can be content sites. So if you think of like Better Homes and Gardens, they might be writing articles about what's the best weather station or what's the best indoor thermometer to use and things like that. And they would also then have links that they would provide out to our sales and our products. But another thing that you have for affiliates as well is also tech affiliates. So technology affiliates. So what you're seeing right there, that little pop-ups screen that says 10% off, that's another affiliate that we use. They're called Upsell It, and they're part of our program. And if you've ever been on a site where you float away or you look like you're going to, close out or go back or do something else, and you'll get a pop-up, right? It says, hey, before you leave, that's basically what that is. And so that's their technology that's driving that function and feature on Accurite.com, but it's all through the affiliate program is how that works. So then they get a percentage of that sale if someone goes in, redeems that code right there, and then we track it all the way through. So we're using cookies to track all the different affiliates, and then the credit goes back to do those types of things. The great thing is that there's lots of companies that do that, so you don't have to know how to do it from a tech standpoint. And so we actually work from a platform perspective with Commission Junction. And we just launched this. We used to do this years ago, and it was before, I don't know, Ben, if you were there, but we used to do it years ago, and then we stopped doing it. I'm sure there was someone in upper level management that said, why would you give a percentage away to people? But anyway, it's the argument that you have. But so we just launched last July. And then in January of this year, we said, hey, we're doing okay with our affiliate program, but we think we can do better. We have a small marketing team, so actually going out there and putting a lot of effort, right? Getting someone to work on this, 20, 30 hours a week, which you could spend a lot of time, going out to recruit new affiliates, get them onboarded, keep in contact with all the affiliates, do those types of things. That's a tough thing to do if you don't have relationships with all these different affiliate partners. So there are other companies that can help you, and we've enlisted one of them. They're called Advertise Purple, and they actually manage our whole affiliate program for us now. So the couple of graphs on the other side, these are the graphs that I show to my general manager and my CEO to say, hey, this was a good decision, by the way. And we said, first of all, that's just a revenue line as far as like what we saw, the little peak there. The first little peak there in revenue is through the holiday season. And then you see that nice little jump up, which is basically starting February and March after we brought Advertise Purple in, because they started to recruit real high quality affiliates, not just all these little coupon clickers. And I don't mean that bad, because that's part of the strategy, but higher level affiliates that they brought in. So there's two things to look at there. One, our revenues went up, which is great. Again, this is just from affiliate marketing. And then the second thing is that we also saw our conversion rates go up. And what that basically means is like again, going back to talking about the quality of affiliates, right? If you bring in better affiliates that have their users and their viewers that are actually, more likely to purchase and maybe match better with our personas, then we would expect higher conversion rates. And that's what we're seeing. And those are good conversion rates if you really look at it and see that we're talking about February and March, right? Which is kind of a slower time for us overall from a purchase standpoint. So that's what we're seeing there with our affiliate program. So it's been pretty good. We'll keep you posted on this. It's fun to watch and see how we do every week and every month, actually. So with those types of things. Now we're going to talk about ratings and reviews. So
Hello, everyone. I think everyone knows how important ratings and reviews are to a brand or how a product does online. But I think just kind of as the graph reiterates, ratings and reviews continue to be the most important factor to making a sale online. And I'd say it's the biggest hurdle that companies outside of Amazon have to doing well in building their business. So one of the ways that Amazon has been so successful is that they've been able to generate reviews and have been able to garner reviews from customers pretty much the easiest out of any online retailer. So places like Walmart, Target, Kohl's, they really struggle with getting that type of volume. And as the graph shows, the ratings and reviews are really crucial to making a sale online. And the on the table to the right, you'll see kind of where your business should be striving to get ratings on your products. There's a massive delta between 3.99 stars and 4 stars. So as soon as the customer sees 4 stars and above, the conversion rate drastically improves. There's also a sharp fall off at 5 stars. So one of the ways that you'll see from a lot of Chinese drop shippers or spammy style products out there is they'll just slam the page full of hundreds of 5-star reviews, and at the end of the day, it's actually not a benefit to them. Another interesting point that we've seen from the data is that the brand of the product has been quite a bit less important pretty much since COVID. We started to see the shift. If you go on Amazon these days, pretty much anything you search for, most of the top results will be something that looks like somebody slammed their head on a keyboard to come up with the brand name. Pretty much the bane of my existence, but they are seemingly here to stay. But we've seen a shift in customer response where most customers don't see those things the way I do, where if it's of value and it looks like 95% of the other products on that page, why wouldn't you just buy it from this no-name brand? So as an established brand as we are, we have our work cut out for us as digital marketers to tell the story of why you would choose our brand or any company that you go work for. You are up against these companies that are shipping their goods directly out of China with a lot less overhead. You have to be able to tell the brand story for why they should choose you. So you have to figure out what is your customer benefit? Why would they choose you? And as I mentioned, one of the primary ways that some of these retailers have their work cut out for is how do they get reviews to combat how Amazon is able to get all these reviews. We have our own Accurate.com, our direct-to-consumer website, and it's the way we gather reviews. It goes through a company called Power Reviews. Power Reviews is partnered with Bazaar Voice, who is kind of a database of all of your gathered reviews online. So we have ownership of all of those reviews, and they're able to syndicate those out to all of our retail partners. So if I go launch a product that's been on Accurate.com for the past 6 months, we got 60 reviews on it. I can go launch it tomorrow on HomeDepot.com and have those 60 reviews out there. So it allows us to launch products more effectively. And given that all of the reviews are getting pulled into the same place, with a company like Bazaar Voice, it helps all of our retail partners like Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, Best Buy kind of build out their platform. So altogether, it's a mutually beneficial relationship, and I think it's the next step in some of these retailers going head to head with Amazon.
One other kind of funny comment, that's not really funny, on this particular slide, that little horizontal arrow in between. I've received 2 emails from the CEOs of, well, not specifically to me, but it's to everyone that's a customer, from Bazaar Voice and Power Reviews in the last 7 days, because they've decided maybe we're not going to play as nicely with each other. So, so warning, to those marketing tech folks, you can bump into these types of things. So it is something we have to evaluate. What I mean by not working is Bazaar Voice is saying, well, Power Reviews may not send us the reviews anymore, so we may not be able to syndicate the reviews for you. And then Power Reviews is saying, well, no, that's not really true. So we'll get to figure out. Now, the key point is they both actually do both things. They both can collect reviews for us and they both can syndicate reviews for us. And there's pros and cons of both sides. So that's what makes it a funny story, only because it's another thing on my list that we get to figure out this year. So, but good fun. And another thing that we started probably 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, because when we get reviews from Accurite.com, we solicit those, right? Once they purchase the product and the product's been delivered and they have it, we will send them an email that says, hey, would you do a review for us, right? We've all probably got those emails before. And we started, like I said, 2 or 3 years ago to actually have it come from our CEO, that the message comes from our CEO. He's the one that's asking for the review. And every time I talk with Power Reviews and we do a quarterly meeting about how things are going, they're like, oh, you guys are just really killing it on the review completion rate, right? And, because the benchmark is like 3 and we do 5.5%. So they're like, you guys are doing great. So, so that's all good. Open rates are good as well. So if you're ever in the time to have your CEO be the person to ask for the review, that can be helpful. I don't think it's just because of the CEO. I think the main thing is having it be from a person, being something personal, right? Not even, your support team or your product team. Have it be from, the CEO or the director of support or the director of the product, whatever it might be. Having it come from a person is always, people are much more apt to actually say yes, click it. It's very easy, right? You can just, fill it out right there and off you go. So, so certainly think about that. That's something that we were doing. And another thing about reviews, and I think if we stop and think about this a little bit, it will all make sense. But you have to look at it a little bit closer. Again, this is some of our information that we get from Power Reviews. And the interactions, it's kind of the review sort engagement, right? We all have our own methods when we go look at reviews, how we sort it, right? It's like, I'm in that 40.9%, which actually sorts by recent, right? I don't care what somebody reviewed, 3 years ago, and it was a bad shipping experience. Well, I would hope they got it figured out by now. So most recent reviews. But the other thing that's interesting, that's actually the second most common. The most common is by the lowest reviews. And I always kind of scratch my head on this, like, why are we all pessimists? So we just want to, kind of be out there and say, oh, this has got to be a bad product, right? I think it's the other way around. I think we're actually more optimists and we want to, where people will actually look at that review and say, well, this person was complaining about X, and that's not important to me. So it's actually a way for them to eliminate, the bad reviews and say, well, those 5 bad reviews don't apply to me. If one of them does, then it gives them pause. But it's kind of interesting. So, and the other thing that's very interesting is that, and we don't get a ton of user images, customer images on our site, but it's something we definitely need to do more of, because if you look at that, only 2% of the folks actually sort by images, but their conversion rate is by far the highest. So again, put this into context. What does that mean? It means people are seeing a picture of that weather station in someone's backyard, or they're seeing a picture of that display on the kitchen counter, right? And that helps them to visualize what this product will look like in their home or their dad's home, if they're buying it for a gift, et cetera, right? So everything you've seen, you've probably seen it. I see more of it on Amazon now where, they have the 3D models, right? Where you can buy something like that. There was something, I think Ben sent it the other day. It was a fire pit. And you use your phone, you can actually see it set on the ground, or you can do it out on your patio. You can walk around it, it's just like it's sitting right there. So having that visual experience and seeing where the product actually is in your house, or where you live is a great thing. So it's very interesting how people use reviews. We always think, oh, we want to get the best reviews. Make sure you got 5 stars. Well, no, that's not always the case, because they can just, feed in bad, just fake reviews, right, to get 5 stars. So people are really looking to other real people to see how they score it, right? And that's what it's all about right there. So in that sense. Okay.
And to kind of wrap up our presentation, I wanted to just give you an idea of some of the big things that we keep an eye on, and some of the more recent updates in the industry. One of the primary things that we're watching right now is the growth of these Chinese sites like Temu. What Wish a few years ago was big, and we're now seeing that Amazon is really starting to pay more attention to what they're doing. We've seen them Amazon roll out a few customer search changes, product page changes, where they add things like number of units sold in the past 30 days, month, 2 months kind of thing. And that's something that a lot of these Chinese startup sites have really pioneered, is the buy it now type of vibe. So Amazon is approaching the situation cautiously. I don't think they want to overreact, because I don't know y'all perspective, but I think it's a massive rummage sale looking at some of these sites, and I don't know that Amazon really wants to venture into that territory. But they are keeping a close eye on them, especially with Temu opening up their marketplace to US sellers. And something that's up for debate right now is, do you really want to be a brand selling on Temu, knowing everything that they sell on there and at the cost that they have? So it's a development that we'll be keeping an eye on, and could very well be something that we're here next year saying, hey, we're doing crazy business on Temu. But something to keep an eye on. And another big development recently was Walmart purchasing Vizio. And while it sounds like it's Walmart buying a TV brand, it's a lot bigger than that, and it's really all about customer data. So at the end of the day, Walmart bought a ton of customer data and customer searches, and just all of how customers respond to ads, what they're clicking on, what they're searching for. What Walmart is after is the marketplace and the ad platform of Vizio. So what that means for digital marketers is ad rates on some of these platforms could go through the roof, or Walmart could start restricting who gets that customer analytics. And further down on the list, while that article is satire, that's kind of how I feel about these subscriptions. So we are seeing more and more developments in the market of retailers rolling out subscription plans to try and keep customers captive and get them away from Amazon and open their wallet to them. So each of these retailers on the bottom is really trying to carve out their advantage versus Amazon. Walmart partnered with Paramount. They have gasoline discounts, grocery delivery. They're really going that route, the quick delivery. Best Buy is really more aimed towards tech, and including things like Apple Care, and focusing on the tech market. And Target is just about to launch their subscription plan in a few days here. So what that means for digital marketers is a lot of these retail partners are investing a ton of revenue and profit into these platforms to build out and keep their customers captive. And where that falls on marketers is they're going to expect a lot more out of us. They're going, we spent all this money building out this platform. You need to be investing at least 20% of your sales back into advertising, and you better make sure your content scores are up to date. So I anticipate the subscription plan and model to kind of evolve, but it's for a consumer perspective, I'm not too happy.
But maybe the good side of all of it is that for everyone who's going to be looking for a job soon, there may be more opportunities because of this, because there's just a lot more that's going to be put on the plate for marketers, right? And because everyone wants to be Amazon, and we spend a lot of time supporting Amazon with what we do, just because we get a lot of revenue there. But we have to do more and more, content creation, ad spends, all those types of things. We're going to have to do that in some way, shape, or form. If we have to do it for Walmart.com and Target.com, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which we already are. So that's either brands are going to be hiring more people, or agencies are going to be expanding to support the brands, right? If the brands are going to outsource that to agencies. So hopefully good news. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just speculating on that one. So I think we have time for Q&A later. So that's where we are for now. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ben and Bill, in terms of sharing some of the things that you see in your industry from an e-commerce perspective. It's really interesting, I think, to see some of the key decisions and the issues strategically that marketers need to deal with that we don't necessarily think about as consumers. All right. And so, over the next few minutes, I'm going to turn things over here to Kevin. Kevin's the director of e-commerce for Colony Brands and Affiliates, and really works within, I believe, IMS. And so I'm going to let Kevin talk through some of the things that they do at Colony Brands from an e-commerce perspective. And I think the focus here is going to be more on conversion rate optimization, and he's going to run you through some different A/B tests. So for those of you that have been in the advanced digital marketing, I don't know that any of these tests may have been inspired from things that you've submitted as part of that class, but Kevin's going to walk us through some of the things on that side.
Sounds great. Thanks, Andy. All right, so just start out with a kind of quick overview of Colony Brands for those of you who are not familiar with the company. So we're based out of Monroe, Wisconsin. We do have a couple of locations in other places across the country, but most of our operations are in southern Wisconsin. So we have a number of different catalog companies. That's really how the company got started. Swiss Colony was our first catalog company, which started in 1926. So we're coming up on 100 years in business. And over the years have, through acquisitions or spinning up internal brands, have grown our portfolio to have 10 different brands. And we really kind of run the gamut of different retail verticals. So we have a few different apparel brands: Ashrow, Midnight Velvet, Monroe and Maine. Home and hard good brands: Montgomery Ward, Ginny's, Country Door, and 7th Avenue. And then food and food gift brands like the Swiss Colony and Wisconsin Cheeseman. You want to go to the next one? Yep. In addition to our catalog and e-commerce companies, we also have a lot of affiliate companies. IMS is one of those. That's technically the company that I work for. It is essentially our marketing department and credit department for Colony Brands. But we do sell some services to outside clients, which is why we are a separate company. One of the more interesting ones that I'll mention here is SC Aviation. This is actually based out of Janesville, and we own a fleet of private jets, and we also manage private jets and charter flights, both domestic and international. So really kind of interesting company to have as part of our portfolio. And another really exciting thing that's happened for us over the last years, we actually made a pretty significant acquisition of Amerimark and the Amerimark brands. So they actually went into bankruptcy early in 2023, and we were able to acquire the assets of that company out of bankruptcy. So in a couple of weeks here, we will actually be up to 18 different websites that we're running across our legacy brands and these new Amerimark brands. So it's been an interesting year acquiring these companies and spinning up a whole bunch of new websites. A little bit about myself. As Andy mentioned, I'm the director of e-commerce at Colony Brands and IMS. I've been here for 11 years. I started as a digital marketing analyst, so I've really been on the digital side and e-commerce side of the business the entire time. My previous career was as a PGA golf professional, so I did not have a straightforward career path into digital marketing, but did make a pretty significant turn about 11 years ago. UW Whitewater alumni, and fun fact, I am the drummer in the Beer Garden Specials, which is a polka band based out of New Glarus. We're playing a bunch of festivals around here. So the teams that I oversee, just to give you a sense of maybe some of the different areas within e-commerce that we hire for and there are careers available in. So one of the teams that I oversee is our web merchandising team, and really what they're focused on is getting the products onto all of our websites and categorized appropriately so that customers can find them, manage on-site search, and also select products for various promotional emails and campaigns that we have going on. We have an e-commerce strategy team, and they're really focused on taking our individual brand strategies and translating those into what we do online. So they oversee our email programs, our SMS programs, and then just the overall web experience. We have a team that's focused on digital advertising, so paid search, display ads, social, Amazon ads, and then targeting specific audience as well that overlap sometimes with what we're doing on the print side of our business. We do a fair bit in marketplaces. Our special projects group handles that piece of it. And we are active on Amazon for a couple of our brands, and then Walmart, and looking to add Target Plus here shortly. And then website development as well. So this is more front-end web development, but they're really the folks that are taking our designs and getting them onto the website so that they provide the customer with the right experience. And beyond that, we also have an email development team as well, who's doing more of the technical coding of the emails behind the scenes. All right, so website A/B testing, as Andy mentioned, I'm going to focus in on this. So a couple of different tools that we have in place to help us execute all of our A/B testing. So we are pretty integrated with Salesforce at this point. We use a number of products within the Salesforce ecosystem. So our e-commerce platform is on Salesforce, and that is feeding all of our browsing activity that's happening on the site into another Salesforce tool called Interaction Studio. And that's really where we're going to manage our A/B testing and personalization. In addition to that, we are sending in on a regular basis transactional data, customer data, and product data into Interaction Studio as well, so that we can, within that platform, be able to send various experiences onto our website and test, does version A or version B work better for a given targeted group of customers. One of the most important parts of what we're doing from an A/B testing standpoint is that we have a very, very strong data science and marketing analytics team. And we have some fantastic reporting that's built out to help us very quickly understand whether a test is winning or losing. And three of the key metrics that we're looking at here are sales per customer, profit per customer, and then pull rate, which would be the equivalent of conversion rate. Pull rate is a an old catalog term, but conversion rates is the same thing here. And we have all this reporting, so as we're running these tests, we can very quickly see whether or not a test has a significant lift in sales, pull, or profit. And just to give a sense of the scale of this, last year we ran 212 different tests on our websites. So having these analytics becomes critical to making good decisions. And so far this year, I actually just heard the number this morning, we've ran 65 tests in Q1. So just continue to ramp up our testing. All right, so Andy's going to help me with this, but hoping to have a little bit of fun and audience participation here. So I'm going to go through a couple of different tests just to give you a sense of when we talk about A/B testing, what are we doing? And then see, by a show of hands, how many people think that a given test won, lost, or had no difference. So the first one here, we did a less credit marketing test on our home pages. So credit is a big, big piece of our unique selling proposition. So we offer buy now, pay later on all of our sites. And it's prominently placed, as you can see in the control version, right at the top of every page. So what we wanted to test is that kind of too aggressive? Is there too much credit marketing happening on our website? And so the test was to remove it. So show of hands, how many people think that this test won? I saw a
And if
couple.
you think the test won, it's the bottom one. So removing the credit. All right. Not too many hands.
All right.
So
How many people think the control won?
definitely more hands, but I don't think everybody's raised their hands. So how many think there was no difference? Well, it seems like, Kevin, they think the control is more likely to have won here.
All right, let's see. That's correct. Our test is all red across all three of our metrics. So we saw a significant decrease in sales, pull, and profit by removing that credit banner. Okay, holiday global promo codes. So the control version here, as we approach our shipping cutoffs, we always message that to our customers and say, here's the last date that you can order and still receive your items in time for Christmas. And so what we wanted to test against that was a promotion of 10% off a $50 order through December 15th. So Andy, I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, so it looks like the control is keeping that. There's still time left. Order for Christmas by December 19th. How many think that had the best results here? No hands, at least none that I saw. So how many think the test, the limited time only, get $10 off? Seems to be most. Is there anyone that thinks there's no difference? But it seems like they believe the test in this case is going to do best, Kevin.
Okay, let's see. So we tested this in a lot of different places, and I would say, generally speaking, yes, those who think that the test was going to win, the test won. One of the interesting things here is Midnight Velvet, which is one of our apparel brands. We actually saw a decrease in sales and a decrease in conversion rate, but an increase in profit. So generally speaking, I would call this a win. However, one of the really interesting nuances of this test is that while we drove a pretty significant increase in sales and pull, really almost across the board, we didn't see an increase in profit. So giving away that discount actually ate into all of the lift that we saw in sales. Okay, another offer. So this was through email. And what we're testing here was just, again, a control version where we're talking about our shipping cutoff, and then a test version where we had an offer, 10 off 50, 20 off 100, or $30 off 150. with a single-use promo code to get that offer.
Kevin, on this one, is the test still to go all the way through the purchase process, or just which one got more clicks?
All the way through the purchase process.
All the way through. All right. So who thinks the control, which again is the order now to get it shipped by the holiday? Few hands. The test using the $1 off? Definitely more there. Anyone? No difference. Small minority. All right. So it seems like they think the test here is going to do best as well.
Okay. And this is why you test. I would have guessed the exact same thing when we went into this. But we test for a reason to see kind of what offers have what impact. So in general here, primarily no difference. And if there was a difference on a few of the brands, there was a decrease in conversion rate and profit with the offer. So, this is one where we kind of scratched our heads and we're wondering what was happening. But in general, what we've seen is the offer that we had on the prior slide, which is the $10 off 50. In general, when we test that tends to win. And when we test a more complicated offer like this, a tiered offer, whether it's confusion on the customer side or kind of not understanding kind of the percentage off that they're getting with this offer as it goes up, no difference. Okay, cookie consent banner. So I'm sure that everyone has seen this become more prevalent in their online experience. But when you visit most websites now, you will see a banner pop up that asks you if you accept cookies or if you want to opt out of any cookie tracking. So this is legally required. However, before it became required, we wanted to understand what the impact was going to be so that we can prepare for it if there would be any negative impact by having this on our site. Again, we didn't have a choice, but we wanted to understand it. So for this one, Andy, I'll let you take it.
But before I do that, Kevin, just so you know, Bill said that they've seen the same thing on the last test. So you're not alone.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of the control, it's the one without the managed cookie preferences. How many think this is going to be the winning test? This might be the most difficult one for me to judge. All right. How about the test with the notification on it? How many think that one? Okay, maybe it won't be as difficult. No difference? More in that category this time, but overall they thought the control would win, it seemed like.
Okay. This was a strange one. So we had a number of brands where there was no difference, but a whole bunch where we actually saw positive lifts in sales, profit, and pull. So our hypothesis on this is, number one, it's just becoming more prevalent. So people are used to seeing this. So the no difference makes sense there. And perhaps customers just feel more comfortable that their data is secure by seeing this. And that maybe is driving an increase. But this one was a strange one as well, where we definitely didn't expect to see an increase in sales going into this. Okay, red stars versus orange stars, and it's not quite as simple as that. But earlier talking about reviews, these are a critical part of building trust with your customer, and we wanted to test how we had been doing these, which was having red stars and the number of reviews compared to what the out of the box kind of default is using Power Reviews. We also use Power Reviews for our review partner. So, Andy?
All right. So again, control is the red stars. This is what they were running. How many think this did better? Right. The test. And what about no difference? Okay, it seems like they're under the belief that the test is going to perform best.
This was a home run. Just a fantastic result. Lifts in sales, profit and pull everywhere that we tested this. So when we went into this and we started with Power Reviews, we had been on Bazaar Voice prior to that, moved to Power Reviews. You know, our hypothesis here was that Power Reviews probably did a bunch of testing, or leveraged their client data to come up with what's the most impactful creative display of these stars, and landed on this orange one. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but definitely seemed to work for us, switching over to their default styling. Okay, and then I think this might be the last one. So this test is in checkout. We have the ability for somebody to add a promo code for a discount. And what we tested was, rather than having that open by default, we still have a toggle there where somebody can fly it open and enter their promo code, but by default, we have it collapsed.
So who thinks the control, which again is having it by default displayed? The test where you have to click to display it? And what about no difference? So it seems like the control is where the majority land here.
Okay. So this one also was, generally speaking, a big winner on the test side. So customers still have the ability to fly that open and add their promo code, but it moves other things kind of further up above the fold on the page. And for the majority of customers who don't have a promo code, just less of a distraction as they go through.
All right, perfect. Well, so at this point, we are going to bring everyone back up that's here in the audience. So Bill and Ben, if you could come back up. Let's give Kevin a round of applause. We're going to have a short, panel discussion in terms of looking at, some of the key trends. I know that Bill and Ben talked a little bit about those, and obviously Kevin was sharing some things in terms of what he's seen. But we'll, if you do have any questions, hang on to those. There may be some time here in a couple of minutes. But I guess what I would like to start with, beyond the trends that you talked about earlier, and Kevin, feel free to chime in too. But let's talk about, what do you see as major trends as it relates to digital marketing? Kevin, you want to jump in first?
Sure, I can do that. I would say, and this is something that we've been doing a lot of testing around, but there's definitely a trend toward more personalized marketing. So whether that's products, making sure that through carousels, for example, that the products are personalized toward what the user is interested in. Definitely seeing a lot of focus there. Triggered offers, targeted messaging on website and through email and SMS. And then additionally, I would say a lot of focus kind of moving toward a more cohesive cross-channel marketing experience. So for us, for example, that's having to do a lot with print catalog into the online experience. But we also have Salesforce talking to us about a product that they have, which is really designed to create a single view of the customer, so that wherever you're interacting with them, that it's the same person, and you can deliver just a more unified experience across all platforms.
Or Ben, anything to add on to what Kevin just shared?
Yeah, for sure. I'd echo what Kevin says about personalization. We're actually in the process now of evaluating a new email marketing platform, with one of the main goals being personalization, and also segmentation, that we can do a lot more of that than what we do today. So really understanding, if we have a promotional email that comes out, that not everyone gets blasted by the same email, right? That they're getting very specific things, maybe based upon what products they purchased before. Do we have upsells that they might be interested in? Some new accessory that we added in for them. So that's definitely really fits in all the personalization side of it. The other thing that I think is a trend that's kind of interesting, and I've seen more data on this that seems to be cropping up, is just where people are searching, where they're beginning their search, their shopping search. Amazon was the 800-pound gorilla for a long time, and we're starting to see a little bit of erosion where they're either going directly to brands to start their search, or doing it more just with their search engine, right? Whether that's Google or Bing, things like that. So we're seeing that, which is an interesting kind of trend, right? Because it used to be, everyone would start on Amazon and then go to other places, and we're seeing that shift a bit, which again makes things a little more challenging, right? It's like, where are people beginning their journey, especially when it's discovery around your products and that. So you just need to make sure that you're in the right place to capture them.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, around the Amazon. Typically, they're getting better at this, but generally speaking, it's not a place you go to browse. You kind of and to find out about new products. It's a place you go where you know what you're looking for. You might have to make a decision between options, but generally speaking, you're going there to find a specific thing. And versus brands where you're there for the experience and you're there to learn about new products and find out maybe what you didn't know was out there, that's a good fit for what you need.
Some of the just quick things that came to mind as far as trends go is a lot of our online retailers are now implementing what they call content quality scores. So not only are you kind of holding yourself to accountability, but your retail partners also have a metric that you have to hit. Otherwise, you face fines or it directly impacts where your product shows up in search. So it's just another way that they're trying to go head to head with Amazon and making sure that they're holding their suppliers to a certain level in ensuring that they have the best content online. Um, Augmented reality, virtual reality, I believe, is also going to become a major part in how customers shop online. As Bill mentioned, just a simple example is like a fire pit. You can show me the dimensions in an image. I can look at customer images, but it is incredibly beneficial for me to just go, what does it look like on the ground? 5 minutes later, I added the thing to my cart. So I see that becoming the norm. Amazon announced about a month ago that 360 images are being phased out and 3D models will be replacing them. So as marketers, that's another thing to add to your list. That's something that we'll have to figure out. Who do we go to? Do we have the technology to implement? Do we have the cameras? All that kind of stuff. And then lastly, international sales growth. In the past, Amazon EU, Amazon US, they all kind of had their own set of specific brands that did well in those marketplaces. And we're really seeing a shift where the same brands are showing up in all of these different marketplaces, and businesses as a whole are really pushing the international model. So from a marketer's perspective, how you market your products in the US, what keywords you use may very well be different in Australia and how they refer to products or what they value.
So I noticed, or at least I didn't really hear a lot about AI. Obviously, AI would play a role in some of the personalization and that aspect. Can any of you talk about, how generative AI is maybe being used, if at all, currently within your organizations, or what you're seeing, or even what you're concerned about? What maybe keeps you up at night when it comes to generative AI from a marketing strategy perspective?
AI basically makes me worry every night that I wake up and nothing will work in the morning. No, I'm joking. But we've dabbled a little bit in AI. We haven't really done a whole lot. Most of that's been around content creation. So for the content writers in the room, sorry. But we have actually created an internal team though within the organization that we're looking at AI across the board, everywhere from HR to marketing. So it's not just a marketing tool. So it's very, very interesting with some of the things that we're exploring kind of just within our company, like questions, automatically formatting questions based upon the job description. And there's some very interesting things there that I know nothing about, but seems very cool. One of the things though we are looking at now and hope to evaluate as a AI tool for our Amazon listings, specifically around the bullet points. Amazon's kind of evolved a little bit where keywords, was kind of really driven by keywords. And then, you had all these Chinese sellers come in and they were just doing keyword stuffing. So everything, so if you ever look at some of the product titles on Amazon and it doesn't read, it makes no sense. They're just, stuffing keywords in there. But there's with some different AI tools that are coming out, seeing some improvements by using those, and they basically look at all your competitive space. They do a better job kind of bringing it all in and then spitting something out says, hey, this will be good. So that is something that we're looking at to see if that's something that can give us a lift. Unfortunately, everything around AI is like really expensive right now. So you can test a little bit out and then maybe learn from it. And then, from some agency that's trying to do that and see where you can go from there. But it's certainly something we're looking at. So.
Just to tack onto that, as Bill mentioned, we have dabbled in it, but at the end of the day, AI doesn't currently know what the top search terms are on Amazon. It don't know how the Amazon algorithm works, but these are some of the things that you're able to pull out of like an Amazon buyer. So there is still the human element that is needed. You can't just, not just a hands-off approach. I see AI as being more of an ad hoc, day-to-day type of tool that we can use to, what's that word I'm thinking of type of thing, something to round out your marketing kind of platform.
Evan?
It's really interesting to hear because we're doing a lot of the same things. So, we're using it, I would say, kind of in our day-to-day work or for content creation, and making people more efficient at what they're currently doing. But we also have maybe a little different approach. But we had an AI competition that was across our entire company, and groups were formed and brought in ideas for various use cases for AI, presented to our executive team to prioritize kind of where do we want to start, what do we want to do. So it's interesting to hear that we're kind of taking a very similar approach toward that. One of the interesting things that I heard at a conference last year that I'll share that just gives a sense of maybe where some of this stuff is going. It was from Salesforce, and they were talking about on the Commerce Cloud platform, which is what we're on, that they were working on generative AI product pages. So essentially, based on what an individual, when they're viewing that page, is most likely to respond to, it would on the fly choose which images to show, choose how to organize the bullets and the descriptions. So if you're interested more in the technical specifications, it would display that. If they think that it's going to be more of the fluffy marketing copy that's going to get you to convert, it would prioritize that messaging. So just an interesting application, again, a future state where things are going.
I think in the interest of time, I'm going to, for the panelists, combine a couple of questions here and kind of make this the last question for each of you to address. So, what kind of skills, especially thinking about, that next generation of marketers as they're leaving the university, what kind of skills should they be thinking about developing now or as they enter the workforce? And then any other advice that you would give to someone looking to launch a digital marketing career. So, and you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that I find value in, and I think conveys the value that you would bring to a company, is analytical and how what they call data storytelling. You can tell me the numbers, but what did they mean? As an effective marketer, you have to be able to explain what this conversion rate means or what this increase in conversion rate means. What does that mean for end of year sales? How is that going to improve the business overall? So really focusing on asking yourself, if I'm going to show these numbers, do I know what the story is behind it? Can I explain what these numbers mean? Aside from that, the other thing that comes to mind is just adaptability, especially being students coming out of a university. You're not going to have a ton of experience probably in these fields, and you'll likely be exposed to a lot of different pieces of the business, and priorities change very quickly. So the ability to hop from one thing to the other and not get bogged down is super important in my mind.
Yeah, I'll agree with that and echo about from a data perspective, it's also the tech side of it all. Don't forget marketing tech and know as much as you can about marketing tech. What's good, what's bad, who's new, who's old. You heard both ourselves and Kevin talk about what we're using for reviews. We both talked about the two big players, right? There's other folks out there, but there's always people that are coming up, new companies. So anything you can do to kind of stay on top of that and understand the tech, I think is really, really helpful, especially if you know how to use it, and you know what it means, and you know how to pull the levers to improve things. Those are valuable skills to have for sure. So, and then if you really like AI, you're very lucky. And learn what you can do on that as well, because that's in some way, shape, or form, whether it's still called AI in 12 months, I'm sure there'll be a new name for it. But I think that's something definitely to understand what it can do for you, and understand what you can do with it, because it's not hard to do things very quickly and learn with various tools that are out there. So explore if you haven't done it already, right? Just go out there and sign up for something and put in a question and just start learning. It's a good thing to do.
Evan?
Yeah, so I would echo the analytical skill set. Looking from that standpoint, I think that's a crucial component of digital marketing and just marketing in general and being successful in this field. So I would definitely say focus there. Curiosity as well from a skill set. Just always wanting to learn, always asking questions to better understand things. And then I would say from a career standpoint, one of the pieces of advice I would give is don't end up in a spot where you're the smartest person in the room. If that's where you are, go find somewhere else. Find people you can learn from, who are experts and are very intelligent. And listen, ask lots of questions, share ideas, and definitely don't be afraid to network.
Great advice. So again, let's give all of our panelists a round of applause. Thank you, all three of you, for joining us this evening and sharing some strategic insights in terms of what you're actually doing at your companies, as well as the advice during the Q&A. I would encourage if anyone does have questions for Bill and Ben to come on up here. If you have questions for Kevin, you can come and talk to me, and I can help get you in contact with him via email. But definitely come up and thank our partners for being here, and not just being here this evening, but also supporting the digital marketing program. And both of these companies sponsor the AMA regional conference competitions in terms of marketing strategy and digital strategy. We certainly appreciate that support.
All right, and thank you again to our partners and then Andy for moderating. Just a couple announcements. As I said, no AMA meeting next week, but we do have our divisional meetings on Monday. And then good luck to the AMA case team and the Minnesota case teams all competing next week. And then on Monday as well, we do have like a March Madness watch party at the Community Engagement Center. If you guys would like to attend, you can come up to me to get more information. Otherwise, if you're on board and going to ICC, please stick around. And then diversity certificate on the 17th. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks again, Kevin.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. Yep. So then we got to stop the recording. Second. There you go.